All right, seeing none come through, I will go ahead and move on. So I am going to now talk a bit about resources for Altmetrics little a education that we have and that we've made available. So part of the other aspect of my role, as I'd mentioned, is doing Altmetrics education. We as a company are very, very interested in making sure that our data is well understood, that it's used responsibly. And so we have a variety of offerings that help people do just that. So I'm going to talk a bit about a few of those today. So the first is the Altmetric Ambassador Program. This is run very ably by my wonderful colleague, Josh Clark. And so what the Altmetric Ambassador Program does is it's basically a community of other people who are interested in both Altmetric, capital A, the company and our products, but then also Altmetrics, little a, just the type of data in general. And these are people on campuses, within organizations, working at funding agencies who are very passionate about the potential for Altmetrics, and as such are often the people who are helping to educate their colleagues and just spread the word about Altmetrics generally. So as part of the Ambassador Program, we offer handouts, presentations, talking points, swag, and a lot more to get you started. Oftentimes, that is the biggest barrier to folks, is kind of starting up those conversations, knowing what to say to people. Let's say your colleagues might be a bit more conservative in terms of how they understand research impact. We provide resources to help you talk to other people, basically, and we do run a kind of online forum. Mailing list actually is more like it, but it helps you to communicate with over 200 people worldwide who are also doing their best to do outreach at their organizations. Something I'm particularly excited about that launched earlier this year is the Metrics Toolkit. So Altmetric is one of several organizations that is helping to support this particular resource. What the Metrics Toolkit is a online resource, almost like an encyclopedia or a dictionary, where you can go to look up what particular metrics mean. And the point of the toolkit is to do away with a lot of the dogma, I guess you could say, that is associated with research impact metrics. You often have, some people are very, very gung-ho about the potential for metrics to completely do away with human intervention and peer review and all these things. You know, if we just get the right types of data, then we'll be able to metricize everything and make research so much more efficient. That's on one side of the spectrum. And then on the other side, you have people who believe that metrics under no circumstances should ever be used. They all are bad. What the Metrics Toolkit's aim is to kind of be neutral in that regard. We try not to peddle anything in terms of what metrics you should or should not use in general. What we try to do is provide evidence-based, research-backed recommendations for the ways that particular metrics should be used if you decide you want to use metrics. So things like article downloads, citations to software, mentions in public policy. We actually look to the research literature and do the due diligence to find out what are some appropriate uses of this data, what are inappropriate uses, is the data transparent, and so on. And so, just to give you a brief view into the Metrics Toolkit. So here's an example of a metric listed in the Metrics Toolkit. So we talk about what it can apply to, how it's calculated, and so on. We also provide a metrics selector where if you are a researcher who's interested, let's say, in crafting a narrative around the influence of a monograph that you've recently published, you're a humanist and you want to talk about the value and the impact that your recent university press published book has made. We provide an easy way to filter through some of the available metrics that are out there and that people are talking about to find those metrics that are most important to you. So you can use this metrics selector in order to filter through and maybe find some metrics that you hadn't thought of for your particular use case. Another resource that recently launched is the Altmetrics Academy. I think it was about 18 months ago that we launched this, and this is a openly licensed educational portal. It's basically like a MOOC in a way, where we've offered and created videos and readings and quizzes. It's meant for self-paced learning, so you can understand better how Altmetrics technologies work, what Altmetrics mean, and more. And again, this is intended to be another kind of neutral third party, not third party because we're we're sponsoring it, but a neutral resource, let's say, that people can come to understand the inner workings of, I think as Dr. Bowman pointed out, a really kind of complicated, heterogeneous data type that is often subject to misunderstanding. So you can register for the Altmetrics Academy for free. You can complete it at your own pace, and at the end of the academy, you get issued a certificate that shows, you know, you have a good, solid baseline understanding of what Altmetrics are, and that really qualifies you to talk about it competently to other people. Another type of resource you can use to stay up to date on the field is our series of webinars that we've been offering. We, in some months, offer at least one webinar a week. Some months it's fewer, but basically there's a lot of opportunities for you to continue your learning about Altmetrics, both Altmetric Big A in terms of some of the product updates and trainings that we have on our products, but then we also talk about Altmetrics Little A and bring in expert speakers to talk about the field in general, to talk about research impact metrics, and a lot more. So a list of our currently planned webinars is available at altmetric.com/events. There's actually a webinar happening tomorrow that you might be interested in if you don't get your fill today. My colleague Ben McLeish is going to be really diving into how you can understand the full impact of your institution's research using some of the tools that we produce at Altmetric. So I encourage you to go check that out. If nothing else, Ben is amazing for a laugh. He's a great presenter, and it'll be very, very informative. And you can register on our website. And then finally, there's the Altmetric mailing list and Twitter. So in addition to sending out product updates and kind of using these mechanisms as kind of a way to stay abreast of what's happening in a very passive manner, you can use this to get research updates, to find out about events, and to stay in the know on some industry news, because we do our best to kind of cover the stuff that you, as someone who is interested in Altmetrics, would be interested to know about, including and beyond what we're doing within our company. So you can sign up to get on our mailing list at altmetric.com, and you can follow us on Twitter at Altmetric.